Hello and welcome to another sketchbook tour. I'll just run off the sketches here. There's a Cosmos pencil sketch. This here is Dark from Crystal Guards. This here is Fire from Crystal Guards. This is Sky from Crystal Guards. And another Dark from Crystal Guards. This is a Runak from Infinity Treasure. This is Captain Skull from Green Ghost. This is Snowpad from Infinity Treasure. Tom Trueblood from a Story of the Old West. This is a Blob from Green Ghost. Here's a fantasy shot of Dragon Tower and Adventurers in colored pencil. Here's Tom Trueblood again, looking at his hand in poker. Here's an alien I drew for a friend. A landscape shot, colored pencil. Another landscape shot with clouds. More clouds, landscape. Here's Chronicles with brush. Here's Chronicles with Gododian and so on. Here's Kael talking to the pink mushrooms. Here's another alien I drew for a friend. Here's an action shot of the team members from the Chronicles. Here's D walking to the mushrooms. Here's a dream. Don't have that much treasure. Here's another landscape shot. Here's another Chronicles sketch. Here's an ink landscape shot with the clouds and mountain. Here's Dark from Crystal Guards. Here's the squad shot of Crystal Guards. We have Fire, Dark, Sky, and Gears. Here's just a play with ink. Another play, a landscape shot with ink. Here's another Chronicles with brush with the tamed beast. Here's Samoan attacking the tamed beast. And Gododian attacking the tamed beast. And the final charge, I guess. Another landscape shot with colored pencil and ink. Here's an ink desert landscape shot or a sketch, I guess. Here's a thick brush ink pen, sort of a mountainous or rocky island. Here's the Dark Knight. Here's another Dark Knight. Here's another Dark Knight. Here's Matt Rise with his powers to materialize. Here's Zach Martin, or Zach Max Martin, evading or on another spying mission. Here's Zach Max Martin again, hacking into an alien terminal. Here's an ink sketch of a rhino, or rhinoceros, from a reference. Here's another Chronicles cover sketch. Another Chronicles, the final charge again. Here's a pencil sketch of a falcon, I think, or a hawk. Pencil sketch of a bird, of a predator bird. Here's I think it was supposed to be an iguana. Turned out to look like a newt. Here's I think it's a crocodile, alligator, I can't remember. Pencil sketch from reference. Here's an ape from a reference. Here's a fish from a reference, the bubbles. Here's a sort of a skyline, a building castle. Here's a wasp from a reference pencil sketch. Here's a mountain pencil sketch. Here's another mountain with clouds. Here's a famous mountainous. And here's another arch, rocky arch. Here's a sunset or a sunrise, a silhouette. Here's an elephant, pencil sketch. A tree frog. I'm pretty sure these are pretty obvious. Here's another pencil or a colored pencil sketch from the Chronicles, Adventures, finding the Ice Tavern. And they're just discussing an illness throughout the nation. Here's a cover of one of the Chronicles. Here's Chronicles' way back sketch of the hero as a baby. A way back sketch, back in time, telling stories. Here's the singing mysterious traveler in the ice tavern. Here's the giant arrow formation from Chronicles. Here's Bresh again, using his powers of fire. Here's Bresh again, applying his hands. Here's Bresh again, realizing or reaching his superhero potential. Here's the Ice King. Here's Someone and Kael discussing the final conflict. Here's the cover for one of the final books. Here's the end sketch of the adventure. Here's Bresh talking to the Griffin police, conveying a message, and that's the end of the book. Thanks for watching. Bye.